Hello. Welcome to the BruceCooper podcast. My name is Bruce, or my real name is Bryce. You'll either hear me be called Bruce or Bryce in this. I'm doing something kind of different. I'm interviewing my friends, just people that I've met on the internet, trying to hear kind of a little bit about their lives, what they're into, what they're all about. This is the first one that I've done, so I'm gonna, kind of shooting from the hip here. I'm going to be interviewing my buddy DadViking Gaming, or his real name is Justin. We're going to talk about his life. I had an absolute blast with this one, and we laughed, we cried. It was an absolutely incredible opportunity for me, and I had a lot of fun. Make sure you go check out ZenViking Gaming, twitch.tv/ZenViking Gaming. That's their Twitch channel. We'll get right into it. Again, this was an absolute blast. I had so much fun doing this. If you want to be on the podcast, just let me know. Hit me up, leave a comment, shoot me a message on Twitter. I love you. Enjoy. Thank you very, very, very much for listening. And let's get right into it. All right, cool. So, you're the first one of these I've done. I don't really even know like why I'm doing this. I just I was talking to Edith, and there's just so many. So like, how do I say this? People. We always I listen to a lot of like interviews, and not interviews, but like conversations, interviews, right? And it's always right. With like famous people, right? And right. Like, not to say that like you're not famous or people aren't famous, but no,
I am definitely not famous. It's okay.
You know what I mean though? Like why only talk to like select people? They're everyone's interesting in their own way, and I just feel like it would be cool to just talk to people. I am in this weird position where like I get to see a lot of I get to stream, and I have an opportunity to talk to a lot of people, so I want to take it.
Absolutely. No, I've been wanting to do the same thing. I've got several buddies that we've kicked it around a lot, and I think one of them actually does a podcast. He works in education. He's a media guy in education, and he started doing one himself.
Okay, cool.
And then, it's definitely something that I've been kicking around too. And I've actually talked to another buddy that does streaming. I walked him through buying the equipment and setting it up, and he did it with two women from his office and recorded it. And
nice. Yeah,
it's definitely something that's in my view that I would like to do. I just gotta, like everything else in my life, I've got to make time.
Yeah.
And actually just do it. So.
And I think for me, like a lot of the reason a lot of what's wrong in the world is people don't actually people don't actually get to know each other. And
right.
There's like a lot of conflict, and people fight a lot. But if you actually sat down and like talked with somebody, it kind of makes it melts things away. And I don't know, it's something I need to get a lot better at, is just talking with people. And
it's easy to, we all have our own walls, and then we all have our, we were raised ways, or we've grown up, we've all had our own experiences, and it's easy to fall into putting people in buckets and all that stuff. But it's when you sit down and just talk. Everybody's a person.
Yeah.
Even if they've got horrible opinions on things, I've got some of my best friends are absolutely on the other side of the spectrum on major issues for me, religion, politics, whatever else.
Right.
But I know they're one of my best friends. They're good people. They're whatever. And we can put that beside it, or just not go near that. And just say, hey man, I like you as a person, and you've always been there for me to support me, and cool. We're cool. So.
Absolutely. For sure. Now, are we, is it good to just get it started? Can I just hit record?
Sure. Yeah.
All right,
I didn't know if we had started yet or not. Or
well,
whatever.
I did. I technically did. I hit record about 2 minutes ago.
The rolling start. That's all
yeah. Now,
okay. Introduce yourself.
Yeah. Now, can I call you, like, is there a first name? Is there?
Yeah, Justin.
Justin. Okay, cool.
I don't know. Did you actually know that?
I didn't know that. No. No.
I know your name, even though it's not your name.
Yeah.
I can't believe that's funny because I know. Did you know Margie?
I knew
for Kitty.
Is it Margie or Margie?
It's Margie. It's short for Margaret.
Okay.
Yeah, and her dad was from the Northeast, and that's a Northeast thing.
Okay, cool. Margie.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, no, she'd probably kick my ass if I called her Margie on accident.
No, dude. We live in Texas, and everybody down here is Margie. And so when anybody ever gets it right, it's almost always somebody from out of state.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're just like, oh yeah, I had an aunt named Margie, and she's like, hi. So
my mom's name is Marcia. It's Marcia, and everyone calls her Marcia.
Oh, so yeah.
It's a very, I understand that completely. And then, okay, cool. So you're Justin, Margie. My name's Bryce, and Ethel is Edith.
I figured that out on Instagram Detective
before
you even officially went public with it. So,
I accidentally, so like Instagram has this like dual account thing, and I accidentally like went through and followed some people with my real name, and they're like DM'd me, and they were like,
Bryce Hooper.
Yeah, they were like, you have a
sorry.
No, you're okay. Everyone knows. So like trash. This is an interesting topic. So I do the Trash Planet thing, the voice, the cartoon thing. Well, the newest episode is coming out, and since it's it's being worked on right now, but since it's like an actual, it's going to be like on an actual thing. I can't really, I don't know what I can talk about. So I opted to have them put my real Bryce Hooper.
Oh, that's cool.
Bryce Hooper is my real name.
Yeah.
BruceCooper is my Twitch handle for various reasons.
Your stage name.
Stage name, yeah. I just got scared somebody was going to come to my house or something. So
Right. Yeah. That's so weird that we have to worry about that crap. And
I know.
It's amazing. You know, we were talking about this earlier today. I don't know if you can hear my chair squeaking around. If you can, I'm sorry.
Fine. It's not a big deal.
We were talking about that in the office earlier about how, we all grew up on the cusp of, nobody knew there's no pictures, there's no camera phones, there's no anything. And now everything is online. Everything is, you have to be, there's no more politicians. Because everybody knows everything else about everybody, and you have to just choose what you'll accept about somebody. There's always that chance that somebody could go, I'm going to put all your information up, or I'm going to come to your house, or I'm going to this and this. And it's like, that was never a thing until recently, especially in, just my lifetime, let alone you can't just go and look up, I'm sure there were like star maps and stuff like that where you take the tours and you can go to celebrities' houses, but like,
we're
nobodies. We're not celebrities. I mean, you're a successful streamer.
Come on. But I know what you mean.
Successful streamer, yeah.
But so like, I was thinking about pictures, like before the internet, and like sharing photos now is such a, like, you were able to throw that picture of Max playing on the computer in the picture room, and like, but maybe even 10, 15, 12, 10, 12, I don't know. I think the first camera phone that I saw was like 2004. So we'll say 15 years ago, if you wanted me to see that photo, you could, I would probably have to know, like, you'd have to show it to me in real life. It's very weird to think about. Like the
Well, I mean, there was 2004, there was email. We could email it back and forth, but it would be more of a process.
Yeah. Or, okay. So we'll say 1999, right?
I would email it to you. And maybe one or two. I wouldn't spam it to how many people in your server now?
Well, there's 1,700 in there.
1,700,
yeah.
Unless I put it up on my website, which is even more of an ordeal.
But how does that influence like the way we dress and stuff? Like, it was really interesting to me because so much influence comes from like photos, and the fact that photos are so easily shared on like Instagram and various social media. Like, do you think that's like, I wonder what, I guess what I'm getting at is I wonder what influence that's had that we don't really realize every day. Seeing that many photos, and the weirdest part is like Instagram in particular, it's all bullshit, man. Like when people They don't post pictures of the fights or like
the stuff anybody shares online is the best parts of the image that they want to show to other people. It's not that person.
Yeah, and that has to breed like depression.
I'm guilty of it too. I don't take this picture.
Yeah,
terrible. My teeth are awful, and my beard. And no, I don't post that. I let me do this, and I'm gonna get an angle. And when it's like I'm still look like a caveman, but at least I look like a cool caveman. But but like Kitty, my wife, she doesn't want to stream half the time because she doesn't want to put on makeup or do her
that's how we do things.
Anything other than pajama pants or a t-shirt, which she works so hard during the day. When she comes home, it's like, yeah, do that. We all do the same thing. I'm in basketball shorts and a t-shirt 90% of the time, or whatever it is. Max doesn't care. Max is in whatever he wants.
Yeah.
But yeah, she doesn't want to have to worry about that. And so streaming or pictures and stuff like that, like anybody in that arena or community has that type of, it used to be just for celebrities, where if you saw a celebrity wearing sweatpants, everybody laughed. Well, now if you're putting yourself on a camera, you're putting a picture out anywhere, congratulations, you get to deal with it.
Right.
And it's like, we're all people. We all wear this stuff. And who cares? But she's not comfortable with it. That's her boundary. That's fine for her. I don't really care. I just make sure I put on a t-shirt that doesn't have a wrung out neck or a stain on it, and I'm good to go. You're not gonna. You can only polish this so much. So
well, it's interesting because I know, like, I think Edith, like, I've always wanted Edith so badly. She's so good at talking that I've always wanted her to she's so good at presenting information that I've always wanted her to like, she watches a lot of these people who like review movies or TV shows or talk about their favorite book that they read, and I think, and I'm like, you'd be so good at that. And she's tried it, and she has to make sure that her hair is perfect and her makeup is perfect. And I think what we're finding out, and I've had this conversation with her, and it was interesting. I think that this is a great segue. I think that what I find when I watch reviews or streams or pretty much any like media now, I'm more drawn to the people who are most like myself, or most like, I can see there, it's almost like a flaw. It's like when I see a flaw or I see something that isn't perfect, it's extremely intriguing to me. You know what I mean? Like
endearing. Yeah, it's
weird.
You see that they're a real person,
right? And it's like
it's hard. I'm not going to name any names on streamers and stuff like that, but a lot of the top guys, it's such an act. Yeah, that they're not acting. That's what they become,
right?
Or maybe it is an act. I don't know, but it's so polished. It's so everything, and it's like, that's awesome if you want to do that. And there's people out there that like that, but I think for a lot of people, they're just going, I want to play video games and hang out with people that are interested in video games, or whatever they may be doing. I want to find people with the same interests as me.
Right. And it's
we can all talk and just hang out. And because that's what Twitch is for me, and for Discord and everything else. It's a community. People are just looking for communities.
What's really interesting is we've been like it's been so shoved down our throats, all of these perfect moments and the perfect look and the perfect stream and all this stuff, that now, like, that's so normal that people are now looking and more attracted to the imperfect. It's just really
right.
It's like seeing it's almost like when I see somebody with a messy room or something on stream, it's like a breath of fresh air. It's very, very, very weird.
Yeah, Max's desk is directly behind us. That's what you see behind our stream. Yeah. So every time I go to plug it in, I'm like, I got to go put away his markers and crayons and stuff like that. Like,
but you don't.
It doesn't.
Like,
do I?
No, like, I think I watch, and you don't like him, but I watch like Asmongold, and his room is a disaster. Nothing about it is good, and it's so intriguing. It's so it's like hilarious in a way, and it's super interesting. Like, so when I'm talking, and it's very that should be really encouraging for a lot of people, because I feel like a lot of people who who are trying to make stuff or trying to put out videos or trying to stream. They're so worried about, I think the important thing is having a good audio quality. Try to have as interesting of a camera or background or voice if you decide not to use a camera. And that's it. Like, I think that, and just try to be I have made so many mistakes in my attitude and how I've acted, and I've yelled at people and I've gotten frustrated and all of that. But I think the most important thing is to just learn and learn from those mistakes. And
right. And that's, it's 100%. I mean, you see, how many streams do you see where it's just literally somebody with a laptop webcam or something slightly better and a headset, and it's like, they're really good at this game, so people are watching me. It doesn't matter. Like,
right.
I have way more, you and I have gone back and forth in this for years now, let alone months. Of how can we make this look? How can I just get on it?
No, I get it.
I'm gonna have 3 people watching me either way. It doesn't matter.
No, I get it.
It's no, it's fine. But in 2022, whenever I finally get around and I get everything exactly set up how I want it, then I'm gonna be super successful, man. Just play. Get on and play. People are gonna see you. And it even comes down to, like you said, it's the camera or it's makeup or it's even the way you talk. I'm guilty of doing the sales voice and the announcer voice because I've done both sales and announcing, but you're like, okay, this is a thing and I've got to make it important and I've got to make it sound professional. And Marky's like, you're doing the voice again. I'm like, what? Crap. Like,
I do
talk like a person.
Edith makes fun of me all the time.
Like Ray Romano half the time whenever I get like in my head, like I have that, built in from my childhood. My dad has this voice that is just, 40 years of sales and customer service and voiceover, because he's done a lot of the same thing, but he's just got this voice. And in my head, I'm going, I want a voice like that. Well, then I start talking, and for 5 minutes, I'm like that. And then by the end of the video, I'm going, hey guys, what's going on? And it's like, that's what happens. That's who you are. Don't sit there and like, who cares? I mean, you got voice crack. Everybody does goofy stuff. Who gives a crap? But we get so worried about, everybody goes in wanting to be the next thing. It's like, just go in and have fun, and people are going to find you, or you're just going to talk to your buddies and watch. Like, I do that with one of my friends. I just stream through Discord. I just get on there and start that up, and we'll sit there and talk. And a lot of it's, especially lately with Max learning to play Minecraft, I'll just fire that up, and he can watch my game and see Max running around in my game, and he can hear Max talking in the background, and like that works for us. I'm not going to get on Twitch with Max anytime soon.
Yeah.
I mean, A, it's past his bedtime, and B, he's 6. He doesn't need to be involved in that yet. He loves watching everybody. There's some other streamers that will send him a message and say, hey, Max is going to bed tonight. Like, hey, Max, talk to you later, man. Good night. Like,
right.
And he knows the people on the computer can talk to him. Like,
I love it.
It's cool. It's also, it's also a little terrifying.
Oh,
he watches YouTube, and he watches all the toy reviews and the stuff like that. And he doesn't watch a lot of the major channels. But he, he's into Transformers and Legos and all the stuff that I was into. And so he has like just stockpiles of a bunch of toys and stuff like that. But he wants to get on and he wants to do toy reviews, or he wants to do videos and everything. Well, he's asked me for a long time now, Dad, can I make videos? I'm like, we will someday, buddy. Like, and I'll tell him, you got to write down your ideas so you can do this and you can know, because when you get on camera, it's hard to talk.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we went to, I think it was Target one time, and there were like these little Transformer toys for $2, and he got 2 of them, and we get in the car, and he didn't even wait till we get in the car. As he's standing on the end of the cart, he's holding the package. He goes, hey everybody, this is so and so, and his little made up name. Yeah, he's got his made up name that I'm not going to tell you anybody yet.
Yeah,
but these are Transformers mini blah blah blah, 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 and just starts going. I'm like, okay, really? Cool, he can do his thing. We pull up to the checkout counter, and he's talking. He kind of shows him to the girl that's doing the checkout, and he's just talking through the whole thing. No fear at all. No, so wonderful. At 6 years old, you have no fear of anything.
Yeah.
And goes to the car and doesn't stop. And he says, hold on, guys. We're going to get these open up here. Hey, Dad, can you help me open these up? Yeah, sure, buddy. And I cut the package for him, and he goes, all right. And he talks through the whole time, whole drive home, whole drive, everything. Probably 20 minutes. I pull up in the driveway. He gets out, he walks up, he gets to the porch, and he goes, all right, guys, thanks for listening to blah, 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 this and this. And next time, don't forget to smash like. And I'm like, oh my God.
Wow.
And he wraps it up 100% perfect. As soon as he says his last thing, he opens the door, walks in. He goes, hey, Mom, look at my toys. And I'm going, oh my God.
You got to film that, man. You got a little...
No kidding. Yeah, my mom has been begging me to get him online because she went to a media engagement seminar through her last job, and
your mom?
It was one of those. Oh yeah, she's a event coordinator.
Oh,
and
cool.
does that type of stuff and a bunch of admin work and stuff like. She's kind of bounces around, but she's always one of those people that has one job but does 5 things.
Yeah.
And it was one of those presentations where it's cool, but you also realize anything that's being said in that presentation has already happened 5 years ago. The wave has already gone. Right. And now that's why they're doing a presentation, is because they're making money off of what they've done.
Got it.
And she was like, yeah, no, you've got to get on and you get your hashtags and you and Max with the videos and apps and just kind of the word vomit that comes with all the terminology they throw at those conferences. And I'm like, yeah, mom. Yeah. Well, then Max did that. I'm just like, dude, he just off the cuff blew out a 25-minute video review of 2 Transformer toys and cut it exactly as he walked in the doorstep of his house, just in time to go say hi to his mom. I was like, okay, maybe we got something here.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, you should who knows? You should film that.
Right. But I mean, it's like,
it's got to be scary though, right?
That's what, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, to think of him being online, it's cool. It's really cool because it's something he wants to do, but it's like, he's 6. He's way too young. We've got to be very careful and all this stuff. But then it's like, this is what he enjoys doing and what he wants to do. And it's the same thing we all used to do with, we like cartoons, we want to draw. If we like Transformers, we want to, if we want all the stuff that we see, we want to do. Well, this is what they see. This is what he's growing up with, and this is what he sees. And he's so good at it. It's kind of like,
yeah.
So
little bit.
It's wild. Yeah. But it's like, if a 6-year-old can do that, like, I'm a 36-year-old. I should just get on the computer and talk about video games. Like,
well, and it's crazy.
Making it a thing that I have to get ready for and prepare for and have everything. Just get on the computer and talk.
When I was a little kid, like, I wanted to be like a football player. I was a massive, I was a huge fan of Emmitt Smith and the Dallas Cowboys and the Troy.
I remember when you said that on stream. You're like, I have a secret to tell everybody.
Yeah,
I'm a Cowboys fan, and I'm sitting there going, yeah.
Well, like people want to be kids want to be YouTube stars the same way I wanted to be a football player. Like, kids but I was talking to my mom, and when she was a little girl, she wanted to be a singer, and she would stand up on top of the picnic table at their neighborhood park and just sing to all the other kids. And it's always, but I feel like more now, like, especially with like esports and the way that's going. I don't know. I know kids still want to be like football players, but it's kind of crazy how like
a thing. I mean, there's always, they're going to be an athlete or they're going to be a TV star. There's always a thing that kids are going to aspire to.
Right.
That we're all kind of going, sure, maybe it'll happen someday. Well, I mean, there's always going to be a dream for the kids to go after, and parents are going to go, you got to be careful. So it just depends on what it's going to be. I mean, here it is. Here's the point where we talk about it. I'm 6'10".
Yeah. I was trying to find a good segue to the height.
Yep. I played college basketball. My dad's over 7 feet tall. He played college basketball.
That's insane.
But we didn't make it any farther than that. My dad had some offers to go to Europe and play. And I got invited to a camp or two, but it was kind of one of those things where they just say, hey, come try it at our camp. And, we need more bodies for the guys that are really going to play. I didn't go. But at that point, my body I've got a medical file 2 inches thick from college basketball. I was ready to be done.
Yeah.
And, but it's also going through that. I feel like it's easier to kind of look at it and go, okay, if you want to be an athlete, you have to do this. Right. But it's okay if you don't, because I know I went through all that and I got to, Division I college basketball is about as high as you can get before you get to the pros. I mean, there's other, semi-pro leagues are playing in foreign countries and stuff like that. But, I was already in the 1% anyway.
Yeah.
And being 6'10", if you can't make it, it's okay.
Right.
The life goes on. Everything. It's so bizarre to me. I can sit here and I can think about specific games and everything else, but it seems like a different life. That was 13 years ago.
Yeah.
And I still have a life. I still have a wife and kids. I have a job. Everything, it goes on. And it's okay if they want to be whatever they want to be and try and all that stuff. And I don't know where we turned on this somehow, but
no. That's good.
Yeah, that's what we were talking. This is one of the best things about these podcasts is you just talk and you hear people's stories.
Yeah.
But, one of the things with Max is he's learning to play Minecraft, and it's the first thing he's really ever done on a computer other than maybe click on videos on YouTube.
Right.
And watching him bang his head on it and get so frustrated and then figure it out. And then he's never used a mouse and keyboard, especially to try to move around in a game. And he's 2 days in, and he's already walking around and trying to build blocks on the ground. Like, one, he's a smart kid, and then two, he's 6. They soak it up like a sponge. But then it's like, in the game, he's playing in a realm that me and a buddy have had up for probably 5 or 6 years.
Oh, cool. I was gonna ask.
And the first reflex is to be like, well, let's put you over here in this area, and you can build your stuff because and like, don't mess up my stuff type thing. And then it's like, no. Get him in there, get him in the middle. Like, you can be in the cave fortress and you can do all this stuff. And it doesn't matter if you just want to make a big blue concrete house or whatever, and like Pete the Cat face or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Do what you want to do. Let him do what he wants to do and be creative, because if you control him, he's just going to push back, and it's not going to be fun for him.
Well, he's not going to get hurt in there.
No, absolutely not.
But see, like, that would worry me. Like, he, like, he's going to go into a cave and fall and die. Like that. Does it stress you out? Like, seeing
there's enough disconnect from that. It worries me that he's going to get too frustrated.
Okay.
Because he's
you don't want him to get frustrated.
When you have kids, you see your own worst faults in them. Yeah. Because you put them there whether you want to or not, and they pick them up too. Their kids are extremely perceptive, and it'll just punch you right in the face sometimes when they'll say something, or they'll look at you and go, Dad, why do you do this? And you go, oh no, that's like, that's deep and buried stuff that I don't want to think about. I don't want to try to explain that to a 6-year-old.
Yeah, for sure.
But he gets frustrated, but he's getting, it's honestly, it's one of the first things that he's done where he's working at it, and then he'll get over it. Cause he had, I think we've talked to you about this. He has ADHD.
Right.
And we got him diagnosed last year. Well, then we went through, finding out medications and stuff like that for him. But as a kindergartner, he was to the point where he hated school and woke up screaming at me in the morning and everything else, and didn't want to do it because he wasn't as smart as the other kids in the sense. Max is brilliant.
Yeah.
On paper and in person, he's brilliant. But he had to fight so hard against something medical that he didn't understand. Well, now he's on medicine. He absolutely loves school, and he's finally to the point where he's starting to get into some of this stuff, and he's pushing through it.
Good.
And he's getting, like I said, he's banging his head on it, and he gets huffy, he gets cranky, he gets everything else, and I'll have to walk him down sometimes. But he's starting to see that he can actually push through some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't put him in sports yet. I hadn't done a lot of things yet, especially team sports yet, because before the ADHD diagnosis and the medicine and stuff like that, it was too much. It would make him depressed. It's just like putting a wall in front of him. It's not putting an obstacle, it'd be putting a wall.
Yeah.
And now he's to that point, not just because of the medication, but the medication has let him build those problem solving strategies and build his confidence and stuff like that again. Because a lot of people think of, and my mom fought me on this too. My mom has an old school mentality of you just have to try harder, or you just have to give him more stuff to do. It's a chemical imbalance, and it's not something where you just take a pill and it's perfect. It's this will fix the imbalance, but then you basically have to rebuild the kid's mental state.
Yeah. Because
he's been frustrated for so long. I mean, you shouldn't have a 5-year-old screaming and crying that he hates school because he's not as smart as his friends.
No.
That was so torturous to me and to my wife's a child psychologist.
Yeah.
She understood it more, but it was still hard. But for me, it was torture for a while of trying to get through it with him and trying to help him, and then to see the improvement in him afterward, and to see that he's working through things and building these strategies and his confidence and everything else back up with him. God, that was the most wonderful thing in the world.
Well, and you want, in your mind, you're saying, 6-year-olds shouldn't have to worry about confidence.
No, not at all. And
but
teachers, yeah.
When you don't have any, or when there's something preventing you from feeling that feeling of I'm as good as the rest, that has no age barrier. I remember feeling that way when I remember this is gonna sound ridiculous. When I was when I was probably 5 or 6 years old, I had an Audi belly button.
Yeah.
And some kid made fun of it.
Yeah.
And I walked around with a towel or with my shorts up above my belly button, looking absolutely ridiculous, so that no one would see my freaking belly button.
Yeah.
And like,
kids are the cruelest creatures on earth.
There's
no filter.
Right.
It's straight up whatever's in my head, I'm going to say.
And I think I just recently got over that.
Yeah.
And I'm 32.
Do you still have an Audi, Bruce?
No, it's maybe if I was 100 pounds lighter, but like it's weird how like that shit follows you for.
I don't know what did it, but in my head somehow I got that I remember exactly what did it. So I went to kindergarten and the first half of first grade in one city, and then we moved, and I went to the second half of first grade and then all the way up through high school in that city. But in first grade, we were on the playground and everybody's running around, and the goofy game of the day was to try to chase a girl and kiss her, which
boy, have things not changed.
Yeah, no kidding. Right?
That's hilarious.
And everybody's running around. I won. I ran up and kissed this girl on the cheek, and she looked at me like I was an alien from another planet, and I went, "Oh no, what have I done?" And I thought everybody in the school is going to hate me. They're going to think I'm a weirdo. Her parents are going to hate me. And then first grade, that stuck with me till probably junior high.
Yeah.
Of finally realizing that the parents liked, the kids didn't care. They, so what? It was one day of a game and whatever. She didn't think I was a weirdo. The parents liked me because I was a big, nice kid. And then finally through junior high and high school, getting into athletics and being more confident through that is finally, I think, what shook that out of me finally. But it was like, one day I just thought, okay, well, that was it.
It just takes one incident to freak you out.
That I'm 36 years old and I can look back exactly at that moment and remember exactly what it was and go, yep, that was it. And
totally,
I've always said it's a goofy cliche saying that I've made up on my own, but it's like everything is the most important thing in the world right when you're going through it.
Totally.
So
it absolutely
it doesn't
is.
matter if you're 5 or 15 or 20 or whatever it is. If you're breaking up with your girlfriend in 6th grade, one of my brothers, I'm the oldest of 4 brothers, excuse me, I've got 3 younger brothers, got broken up with by the girl, and I want to say 4th or 5th grade, and my mom still tells the story of hearing him howling, crying at night. And
it's
I'm
real.
It's right then. That's what you're going through. And it doesn't matter if you're in 4th grade. When you're a 4th grader, that's the end of the world.
Totally.
And when you look at kids and you're kind of, oh, it'll pass. That doesn't matter. It's what they're going through right then and there in their world. And it's so funny because you and I talked about we were going to do this for about 20 minutes last night. And I've had about 4 conversations with people in my office this morning about half of this stuff. And it's just about how people, like, you have to realize that everybody else in the world is doing the exact same thing you are. They're not just background supporting characters. They're a fully formed person that is going through through life the same way you are.
Well, that's the really interesting part about it is like, there's so like you, for example, and I hate to revert back, but I don't know anyone who's as tall as you. Like you're 6'10". That's
right.
When I was a kid, when I was little, man, I would do anything to be 6'10". My fantasy was to be tall. I think that's a lot. I think that's a lot of kids, but you probably went through hell. Like, I mean, I imagine there's probably.
I did and I didn't because I grew up with my dad being 7'2".
That's right. Are your brothers
6'10".
really tall?
My brothers are 6'4", 6'5", and 6'6". And my grandmother and my aunt are 6 foot on my dad's side.
Wow.
And now my wife is 5'10", and her mom is 5'10" or 5'11". Her dad's 6 foot or so, and her brother's like 6'2". Like,
yeah, just all tall.
Yeah, but like even growing up, it's funny you mentioned that. I never realized how big I was.
Yeah.
Until I saw myself in like high school game tape, or actually it was game tape, but then it was like a project my senior year in an English class where we had to do some Greek mythology thing, reenact a scene from Greek mythology. And of course I got to be Zeus sitting in we found the biggest, the group member with the biggest armchair in their house.
Yeah.
And I was sitting in the armchair on it like as a throne. You see the video and it looks like a special effect of how much bigger than the other people in my class I am. and because I've seen myself on game tape with basketball players, and that's supposed to be the biggest guys.
Yeah.
You know, I go in the game, I'm going, that's a pretty big guy. And then I see on film and I'm 4 inches and 40 pounds bigger than the guy.
Yeah.
And that's in basketball. But then you see me next to the normal kids as a high school senior when I'm 6'9" and 255 pounds as a senior in high school. And,
yeah,
you know,
man.
Looking around at normal kids. And
6'9".
You know, I've gotten it through my head in basketball already, but you start seeing yourself more and more in pictures with your friends and video and stuff like that. And you go, wow, that's really what I am in the world.
Yeah.
And because, you know, I've never felt that big because my dad's always been bigger than me.
Right.
And my dad's not a skinny guy either. Like he's a big guy.
Yeah.
And yeah, so to me, for us, it was normal. And I have a mom that will fight like hell for anything in the world for us. And she threw herself in front of so many bullets and trains and everything for us of, you will not treat my kid differently.
Right.
You will treat him like he is. Or he's a whatever age, just like everybody else. And he will have every opportunity and will not be treated differently.
Now, I don't want to, for this to sound rude or anything, but like when you go, like when you're that tall and you go out to like a restaurant or something, do you notice like people looking at you?
Oh yeah. Like I've noticed that I was 6 feet tall in 6th grade.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Do people ever say like,
you notice it then of looking at my dad? People always come up and look at my dad, and then I was like, oh, okay. You know, that must be cool for people to want to, you know, talk about you and all that stuff. And dad used to have a hat that said 7'2" and not anymore. That's
what I would do. Right? All my shirts on the back would be like, keep staring.
Yeah. You know, I always hear the people send me the meme about the guy with the business card that says 6'10", no, I play volleyball or whatever it is, and this, and all that stuff. I'm like, yeah, my dad had that hat 30 years ago. But what's hilarious is, you know, me and my dad walking around the store.
Oh, I bet.
Because you don't know who's going to look at which one of us first. And then they go, oh, well, that guy, oh, God, that guy too. And then they just stare at us. And it's like, yeah, like, what do you want? And
do people still come up to you and say, hey, how tall are you?
It's a daily occurrence, man. Like,
wow.
And not a day in my life, even if they don't say anything. And partially it's kind of cheating now that I work in the school districts because the kids are just like, oh, it's a giant. Like,
yeah.
Which, you know, when it's 3rd grade and under, you don't care. But when it's high school kids, you're just like, shut up, kid.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's a daily thing. And, you know, I drive a Kia Soul.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've ever talked about that, but it's hilarious because it's a little roomy box on wheels. My buddy calls it the clown car, not because of me, but because we'll be moving stuff and I'll just keep pulling stuff out of my car because it's so much room inside that car that it can hold so much. So people look at me and I'm like, go sit in my car. I'm like, what? Well, you need a truck, man. I'm like, go sit in the car. Oh, okay. And their head's 8 inches from the roof and they can't reach the pedals and their arms are all the way up.
Yeah.
And I'm going, yeah, that's why I drive this car. It's because I got 33 miles a gallon. I was driving 100 miles a day when I got it. Like, yeah all that stuff is a daily.
Kia Souls are awesome. I don't know anyone who wouldn't.
Right.
Like that. I love,
I also live in Texas, which is the land of the truck and everything else. So it is 100%. And I jokingly, I put this up on Instagram a couple years back when I was dropping Max off daycare every morning. I would stop at a gas station, and it was a smaller rural town in between, or the north of where we live, that was on the way to my wife's, the district she works in. And it's like the local gas station that makes breakfast burritos and everything in the morning. So you walk in and there's 12 old guys in trucker hats all having their morning coffee, and they wave at you and talk to you when you walk in. And they all looked at me like I was some kind of space creature climbing out of this little tiny car and then having to duck through the doorway of the gas station when I walk in.
Yeah.
Honey, I need a truck if I'm going to be doing this. I can't have the guys at the gas station looking at me like this every day.
Well, see, now the next question I had for you is, so a lot of us, most people go through life not having to worry about that. Like, I'm sure it must get, do you ever, like, is it exhausting? I mean, like, do you, I think you've probably built up a life of like.
It depends.
Right.
You know, with the kids are hilarious. I don't care about kids. And for 90% of people, it's fine. If they go, hey, sir, I'm sorry, do you mind if I ask you how tall?
Yeah,
sure, that's fine. If I'm in a crappy mood that day, I'll go, yeah, sure, that's fine, whatever. And
but
I'll
just
still
this
be
idea
nice
of everyone looking at you because of your height. Does that ever get?
I've grown up that way, so I don't know any different.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I was 5'8" when I was 20 years old, and then when I was 22, I was 6'10".
And you don't want people to feel sorry for you, right? Like,
well, yeah. And this is what I've always grown up as, and so I'm comfortable with it. And people are like, "Well, you like being tall?" And I'm like, "I've never not been tall, so yes, I like it."
Yeah.
So, like,
right.
But like I said, 99% of people, I don't mind. It's the guys that come, "God, man, are you like 8 feet tall?" Or, "Hey, what's your shoe size?" Or what? Even worse, any question you can think of to ask an abnormal sized human.
Right. I get the idea.
Everything,
yeah. Or like, I can only imagine what it's like at like bars and stuff where there's filter is less.
Yes. Well, and then my filter is usually a little less at that point too. So I either roll with it or they get to hear it. And, but it is, I used to joke about it and then I would do it in college. It's, I never had to worry. Sure, I'm going to make sure I look nice or have a cool haircut or all that stuff. All that stuff's still there, but I never had to worry about having an icebreaker for a conversation. Yeah,
for sure.
Enough people are going to come up and talk to me that I can pretty much direct the conversation or I can whatever. But
I think that's a really good outlook to have.
Yeah. I would literally just go stand next to somebody or stand behind them and wait until they turn around or whatever.
And bump into your belt line.
Yeah, right. They turn around and look and then they look up and go, "Oh my God." Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious. I've joked about it with Margie and she's seen it happen. A, having been this big my entire life, and B, I'm just out of, like you said, you bump into my belt line. If you turn and look at where a person's head usually is, you're looking at directly at my chest,
right?
Like, not even at my shoulders. You're looking at my chest. People don't expect to look up 1.5 feet and see a person.
Yeah.
And I can, when I want to, decently move through a crowd without causing too much of a scene or really being noticed too much. I can move through a room because people just aren't literally looking for a person where I am.
Yeah.
It's the goofiest thing to try to explain. It sounds hilarious.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, you can almost sneak.
I can just kind of move through without, as long as I'm not walking directly up into your line of sight or whatever else, I can move around. I know how to get around people without trampling people. I've been this big for a long, long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can, someone's always going to see you and go, "Wow, look at that guy." And you kind of whatever. But as long as you're not walking through the room, walking like the Sasquatch video or doing something outrageous, loping along and waving your arms, people just kind of go, "Wow, that's a really freaking big guy." And then they kind of let you go for the most part.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hilarious. It was always in college, it was the party trick was to get down on my knees and still be as tall as some people and stuff like that. You work with it, man. If it's if you had, if you were the guy with cool hair, you're the guy with cool hair. He's the tall guy. He's the guy with the voice, or he can play guitar. Everybody has their thing. Mine just happens to be built in a little bit more physically for the most part.
Well, and everyone has their thing, right? Yours is just is something that's more obvious.
Right. And then people learn, I build computers. I'm a computer tech. They're like, "Wait, what?" I'm like, "Yeah."
They're like, "You're not a security guard."
Yeah. I'm like, I do this, I do blah, blah, whatever. And they're like, "Wait, what?" Like, yeah, I'm a person too. I just happen to be a really big person. They're like, "Wow. Okay. Yeah." And I'm like, my dad is, oh God, I have to do the math. He's 61 now, I think 60. Yeah. And he has had 60 years of more than I got. Oh, I'm 6'10". He's 4 inches taller than me. That's even that much more of what. And he was 6'6" in 6th grade.
Wow.
Which, he was painfully growing and as skinny as possible, just awkward. And I was already a huge, very large kid, but he was to the point where parents were literally yelling at him during youth sports, saying, "There's no way this is how old you are. This is not fair. Get away from my kids," and stuff like that.
That's crazy.
All he wanted to do was play baseball. All he wanted to play was baseball.
Baseball, not basketball.
Baseball, yeah. Baseball. Yeah. Always loved baseball. And he got to the point where the coaches wouldn't let him do it. Or he had too many problems with the parents and everything else that he couldn't do it anymore.
Wow.
So you got pushed into basketball because that's what you did if you were that tall.
Wow.
And he loves basketball, but baseball has always been his first love. And it was the saddest day of his life when the last one of us stopped playing baseball, and he didn't have any more little league games or anything to go to, because that meant that he just had to go watch it on TV like everybody else.
Could he go coach little league?
He coached all our little league teams at one point. He was always helping. He actually worked for the Rangers at one point, selling season tickets and doing stuff like that. He's been involved in a lot of colleges and racetracks and stuff like that. He's done sports and always been in that industry for a long, long time when he was in sales. So he's stayed with it and he stayed around it. And that kind of, I don't think that ever goes away. I'm working a lot more this year with our middle schools and our high school, and being around the high school and the athletics part of it. Like there's a feeling that you get when you walk into a athletic facility, when you've spent that much time in one and you've just bled and died in them for, years and years and years, and had so many emotions and stuff attached to it. It's like, I don't know if you're a musician, you walk into a concert hall or something like that. It's that type of feeling where you just go, yeah, this feels right.
Right. For sure.
Yeah. And so even I was never a football player. I was in junior high just to stay in shape for basketball, but walking in and dealing with the football coaches and being around the facilities and stuff like that. And then this last week, I actually got to go do something for one of the basketball coaches, and the gym we have at the high school is amazing. And the facilities over there. And I'm just standing there looking around going, I'm 90% thrilled because it just pulls so much out of me emotion wise and just makes me feel happy just to be around that. And the 10% is that pit at the bottom of your stomach going, oh man, how many times did I have to run in a gym like this? Or how many times, that it's that same feeling you get in the pit of your stomach before practice or a game or something like that, that never goes away.
Right.
That I'm sure to try to relate it, I guess, with streaming, right before you hit go, you're always like, okay, got to get hyped up for this, whatever. Okay, let's go. Like it's that feeling of right before you go, you always get that feeling. But
yeah, it's weird. I got that feeling before the podcast. Like I get this, it's like so much of it is atmospherically, right? Like, when I sit down behind a computer,
you put on yourself. Sure, there's always prep. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over
No, you're fine.
I'm definitely. You get me started. It's hard to stop me.
No, that's good. That's a good thing.
I'm running you over.
I think that's a positive trait.
It's all the pressure that you put on yourself. You can relate that to everything that we talked about between streaming, between kids and figuring stuff out, between everything else. It's in your own head. That's all there. Whereas with your streams, we're all waiting, going, cool. It's, here's the countdown, or the stream's going live. We can't wait for Bruce. And you're going, oh God, I got to do this now. I got to psych myself up. Like, there's always that, running out into a stadium and the music's going and the band's playing and the fans are cheering. It's like, okay, once you're through that door, it's gone. But there's always that buildup of, okay, it's time to go. Time to do it. Time to do this thing.
That's got to be an amazing. See, people will wait in my chat and they'll be like, where are you and stuff, but they're not, it's not like in my room. I've gone to mini Oregon Duck games, and this idea of thousands of people screaming while you run out there with your team, that's got to be the best feeling in the world. It's
pretty incredible. It really is. There's nothing like that. And even when they're not cheering for you, because I played for North Texas, which is a small Division I school. We're not a small school, but it's a basketball program until actually really they went to the NCAA tournament the year after I graduated. So they've had some success in the last 10, 15 years, or 13, I guess, since I graduated, because we didn't have a whole lot of success while I was there.
Right.
They've had some success and done well. They've made it to the tournament once or twice, and they've had some better teams. But a lot of our biggest games were road games at big colleges. We played at Texas, at Alabama, at Arkansas. I played at Indiana one year. And if you know anything about college basketball, Indiana that's a pretty holy place to go play. And that was one of the most incredible games to go out to warm-ups and just to look around, and it looks like a small football stadium. The bleachers go up. So, North Texas has a 10,000 seat arena.
Wow.
And that's a big college arena. And Indiana, I felt like I was 3 feet tall, standing in the middle of the court and just looking around. And we played there, and they played at our place the next year or something like that. And you get into these places, and it doesn't matter that the crowd's not cheering for you. It's just the energy in there when you come in, and it's like half the time when you're all fired up, you're ready to go out and fight. Even if they're booing you, you're just like, fine, bring it on. This is fuel. Let's go. And it just puts you that much higher, and you kind of got to sit there and go, okay, I've got to calm down, because the first time I get the ball, I'm going to throw it 3 rows into the stands because I'm so excited right now. Yeah.
Well, I know like
But,
Autzen Stadium, they have, I think, like 62,000 seats or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, and like just the noise. I mean, we live a few miles away, and I hear it when they have games.
Oh yeah.
And that's just like that atmosphere is just, that's college sports, like that in a nutshell.
As we probably had, I would say between, it's a 10,000 seat arena. I would say we had between 2,500 to 3,500, 4,000 people there on a regular basis.
That's amazing.
Not a lot.
No, that's a. Well, I feel like that's a lot of people.
But it's not a lot in the stadium. Like the upper deck is mostly empty, and the bottom decks aren't completely full. But when we have Indiana play at we had Indiana play at our place that year, and some of the other schools, especially bigger local schools, TCU and some different local schools and stuff like that. Sorry, my cat's trying to jump up on my lap, and I'm trying to get him not to tear up my pants here. And you get 2 to 3 times what you're used to, and a 10,000 seat arena is full, and you run out, and you're just like, oh my god, this is so much. It's awesome. Even if playing some of those games, we knew we were getting fed to some teams, like playing at University of Texas at Austin, playing at Arkansas, playing at stuff like that. Like, you knew it was a game that we wanted to get a big name on the list, and we had a chance going in. We played at A&M, Texas A&M Stadium, right? Basketball Coliseum down there is amazing. Like, some of those teams, it's going to be a fight going in, and we're just here. But
right. When
you've got a chance, when you're at home, when it's your people and everything else, you're just like, holy hell, it's there's nothing that puts you in it that fires you up more.
Oh, I bet. I see. That's a feeling I don't know about. I can only imagine.
It's just, I don't know. I don't know how to relate that. There's no. You said you've been around that type of noise, and imagine if some of that noise was for you. That's really
awesome. Yeah, I can't imagine. Yeah, when I look at like musicians, right, who have thousands of people like screaming at them, and they do it every single night. I just want to try it once. I just want to be up on a stage and have people cheer for me one time. You know what I mean? Like, I can only imagine doing it 200 days out of the year, and then it's just such a, oh man, this. Since I was, and I don't, it's not like I want to be, I think everybody wants to be famous at some point in time in their life.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know, it's like fame is probably one of those things where you want it till you have it. And it's like a tattoo. You probably can't really get it off of you unless like you're really like, you go into hiding or something like that.
Well, I think it's like, I think there's 2 ways of looking at it. It's either your career, like you do it with a sport or a band or something like that, or you're a lottery winner.
Yeah.
And I think with the people that have, even just getting to the level I got with basketball, it wasn't intimidating. It was what I was there supposed to be doing. It was basketball. And
it was your job.
Sure, you get nerves and you get everything else, but you're there to do a job.
Right.
And you love hearing the crowds, and it gets you fired up, and you feed off of it and stuff like that. But you'd still be playing basketball even if you didn't have that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But if you win a lottery and all of a sudden you have all the focus on you, or you have all this money and you're not prepared for it, then yeah, I can see that being different. Or if you made, the level of jump is, I think, is the most important thing, because when you blow up, then you'll be used to it. And it'll be exciting. It'll be, but you'll be used to it because you've gone through it. You've put in your time.
Right.
And as opposed to somebody that just went, oh, I did a cool thing. I had a viral video, and now I've got a million people following me, and I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah. It's like an appreciation thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I even still, like, I remember when I have a video of my 100th follower on Twitch, like, I was thinking your old stream where you were, I don't even remember what you were playing, but you were jumping off a cliff of something. Yeah, it was some video you showed us a while back. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Right. So like, like that's sort of, I don't want that to ever go away, I don't want that to ever, I want that to grow. And I think Twitch is such a unique opportunity in that, like, it's so weird, right? Like I can't, if you were to tell me 10 years ago that I'd be like live streaming on Twitch every day, I'd probably say that you're crazy. But like, it's like a scrapbook in a way, I guess. Like, I like going back years and I've been doing it for a few years at this point. I like going back to the beginning and seeing what the differences are.
Right.
And like, I think that's the most important reason for me to stream. It's not to make money or to like even to build community or whatever. Like, I think for me, it's really, really nice to see how far I've come, maybe as a person, how far I've been able to get out of my shell.
Yeah.
Because I was in a dark spot when I found Twitch, and I'm in a much better spot now. And it's important to go back so that history doesn't repeat itself.
Yeah. I feel like there's always going to be a thing, whether it's music or whether it's comedy or whether it's whatever. There's always, Twitch is just a different platform.
I hope so,
and
man.
It's always about the person about it. And, because there's always, if you played, I'm going to go to an open mic and I'm going to play my 6 guitar songs that I can hardly remember.
I played in bands in high school. Yeah. That was the life.
Yeah, dude. And it's what you're doing now. It's just a different platform. And it's the same thing people have always done, where they've finally said, I like this thing enough that I'm going to put myself out there.
Right.
And I think the community aspect of it is great. I don't know of many other, you don't have that involvement with a band.
No, for sure.
Like that. You definitely, whether it's good or bad, you don't have people, if somebody yells at you at a basketball game or a band or a show or whatever, cool. Fine, suck that night. Fine. Walk off and we'll never see you again. If somebody, comes into your chat, it's different. So it's for better or for worse.
Yeah.
But it's a consistent thing that's going to be there. And so it's awesome that you've got a community to support, but I think it's all about the person and what they're going to say. I'm going to do this now. This is what I want to do, or this is what I'm going to do. And I've put myself out here, and it's a great opportunity because it lets people, I think any avenue for like that for people is great. Because not everybody's 6'10", not everybody can play guitar, not whatever. You find something that you want to do and push and do it and do it to the best of your ability and whatever makes you comfortable. If you only want to be the guy that streams to 100 people, that's great.
Yeah.
Be the guy that streams to 100 people. If you want to push it and keep getting better and keep improving, that's there for you, man. It's for however far you want to take it.
Well, I think it all comes together at like TwitchCon, or like that's for me. That's the. And if you someday you guys got to make it to a TwitchCon, because it's not about the convention. It's not about, it's like imagine if
faces, it's face-to-face interaction with people. Like,
it's like it's like the after party to a big show, or the after party to a big basketball game. It's like the going out to lunch with people that you're just so used to just seeing their name in chat and going out to lunch. It's like the best feeling.
Yeah, I do that with my buddy. It's like the group of friends that I have that I play music with, that I see him once a year when we fly out to my buddy in St. Louis.
Yeah, exactly.
And, we all sit in the basement and play loud music and drink beer and hang out because we're all college friends, and it's so great to see each other again. And then we go back to our families, and we all talk on a near daily basis. My friend Brandon is the one, it's his house, and I talk to him as much, if not more, than any human being in my life. And but I see him maybe 3 or 4 times a year.
Right.
So it's always, I totally get it, that it's, seeing those people that,
that means so much to you.
Yeah. These are real relationships. It's not just a Discord. It's not just a chat. It's not just this is only games. No, these are people that you spend a lot of your life with.
And that's what I want this podcast to be, realistically. Like, I want it to be just breaking down that wall of like these, this is, we are all real people. Like, I don't think anyone should feel insignificant. And like, everyone has real stories. I bet like it's going to be amazing to hear, like, I think if people listen to it, I don't care if they do or not, but if they do, I hope what they take away is like, wow, I'm not the only one that goes through that, or like that is there are other real people out there. Because I think I forget it oftentimes. I stream, I don't get to talk to a lot of people like this. And I think it's super important to remember that we are all people.
Right.
So
yeah, even the trolls, even the weirdos, they're going through it for a reason. And I'm getting,
yeah.
It's so funny. It's so funny when you do stuff like this, because you realize, and maybe it's just me, I've had a confluence of everything in the last 24 hours or whatever. It's just one of those things, because you're thinking about it. It's like when you buy a car, you see 1,000 other cars of the same car that you're driving. But I'm reading a book to Max that is by a guy named Jocko Willink, that was a Navy SEAL. Or, excuse me, I don't know if he's Navy SEAL. I remember he's U.S. military. I don't remember exactly which branch, and I'd probably get barbecued by anybody.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
But
the pitchforks, get them out.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. But he was, serious military dude who then became a trainer, who is now runs a company that is, teaches management and things like that, using the principles that he's done. And he's got all these books out that are, it's, accountability. Like in his, it's I'm not going to get buried here in this too, but it's, my favorite response to all the problems that I heard was good.
Right.
Good. We didn't get the gear we need. Fine. I'll go find another solution. We'll work around it. And good. And just take it in stride and hold yourself accountable and be accountable for it, even if it's not your fault, because you still have to deal with it.
Yeah.
And move on. He's written children's books.
Really?
Yeah, which sounds amazing, kind of out of left field, but it's the kid that he comes home and his mom's working and he's got nobody there, and he's just doing his thing. He rides his bike, he loses his bike out in the yard, he gets rusty, he eats the snacks that are in the house, or maybe he just eats pizza, or he doesn't want to eat the food he's got an Uncle Jake who's ex-military, and one summer his mom gets Uncle Jake to come work with him. And he starts teaching him about accountability and working hard and discipline and things like that. Right. And we read the first one. Max was probably 4.5, 5, so about a year and a half ago. We read the first one, and to see a 5-year-old's eyes, you see the gears moving behind them.
Right.
And as they're starting to understand some of the stuff of what it takes to get what they. If it's at that point, it's just understanding what it takes to get what they want.
Right. How do I get what I want?
That's the message. Yeah, you can relate to that. That's fine. If that's what you're going to relate to at this point, go to town. Yeah. As long as it gets you to clean your room on a regular basis, I don't care.
What was the book? What was the book called?
This one is called The Way of the Warrior Kid.
Okay.
Is the first one, and the second one I think is The Warrior Kid, Mark's Mission, because the kid in the book's name is Mark.
Okay.
And and so in the book he learns discipline, and he gets training himself physically, and he starts doing jujitsu, because that's one of the things he thinks it's a martial art that you have to work and be better at. It's only dependent on you.
Right.
And so he's got all this stuff, and he kind of defeats the bully or defeats his own demons and all this stuff, whatever. Well, the second book is he's done all this, he's doing great, he's at a good point. Well, he has a summer where he's lazy and he doesn't want to go to camp and all this stuff, so he's addressing all this stuff. Well, at camp there's the one kid that gets under his skin and is the bully, and he can't figure out any other way to deal with him, and he finally decides he's going to fight him. And his uncle says, okay, fine, if that's what you want to do, fine, but first we're going to do surveillance. We're going to find out as much about this kid as possible. And he's like, what do you mean? Why do I need to know about this? I know the kid's a bully. That's all I need to know. He goes, no, I want you to understand him first. And so he's reading through, and he's watching him for a couple days, and he realizes he doesn't bring very healthy snacks, maybe just a bag of chips every now and then. And, he's only got like one pair of pants because they've always got the same holes in it. He doesn't have a backpack. He just brings it in a plastic bag, and his hair's never washed and all this stuff. His uncle says, okay, well, what's that tell you? He says, well, he's mean, and he's lazy, and he doesn't want to eat healthy, and he's all this stuff. And his uncle goes, no, maybe his family doesn't have money for that.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't have good food at home. Maybe he doesn't have this. Maybe he only has one pair of pants. Maybe
Make anyone a bully.
Maybe he's wearing worn out shoes because that's all he's got. And the kid, it hits him, and he's like, oh, yeah, that could be it. Maybe and he's like, no. This is why we find out about people.
Right.
This is why you want to understand what you're going into first.
We don't jump to conclusions.
Yeah. Right. This is what he's living in.
That's a great message.
Yeah,
Like that's absolutely true.
Yeah. And later on, it's like, as I got ready for bed later, pajamas, I stopped to wonder, does Nathan even have pajamas to wear to bed?
Right.
And yeah, and you can see that was the end of the chapter, but you can see the wheels turning in the kid's head of him starting to understand.
Yeah.
And even Max, Max is reading the book and everything. But like, yeah, it's a kid's book, and it's written by a military guy, but you have to think about what's going on in other people's lives that you don't know, and or treat everybody like. And I haven't seen the new Joker movie.
Oh man,
have you seen it?
Yeah, I went and saw it. Oh really? Went and watched it with my mom.
Oh no,
good God, dude!
It, but some of the stuff I've read, a lot of the comments I've seen are, I walked out of that movie thinking, I have to treat everybody I meet like it's the worst day of their lives.
Yes, absolutely.
Because, and I don't know if this is spoilers or whatever. This is only what I've read from review. I'm notorious in my house for spoilering everything. Because I know we don't go to movies. We don't do a bunch of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Very often, so I read up on everything, and it doesn't ruin a movie for me knowing what's going on going in.
Right.
But he's a guy that's got some issues, mental health issues, that is isolated, and nobody's there for him, and he has no way to get help, and it spirals downhill from there, from what I understand. And it's basically somebody could just be having the worst day of their life or a bad day, and if you kick them, then it's going to get worse. But if you're the one person that says something nice or even is polite to them, it could make a difference,
a huge difference.
And I deal in IT and I support everybody from people fresh out of college. I work in a school district, so it's teachers fresh out of college to teachers that have been there 40 years.
Yeah.
And the knowledge difference and gap and everything else there is immense. Some of the teachers I'm certified Google everything and this and this, and the ones today are like, do I click on this button when it says I want to do this?
Yeah,
go ahead. But you can't treat them like, what the hell are you doing? Why don't you? Yeah, just read what it says and click the button, because that's not what they. Did you go to school for that? Do you know how to do what they're doing? No. Yeah. And it just, you have to be a good person is what it comes down to in the end of everything. But it's so funny that we talked about this last night, and then all this stuff. Every point I've tried to pull in today has all happened in the last 24 hours.
No, that's how it is. I think what it comes down to is you're never going to do, I've learned recently that I'm never going to do myself any favors by treating someone bad.
Right.
Like, and it's selfish. It's selfish to even think that I would be. And people are like trolls, right? Trolls, especially on Twitch, they just want to have a good time like everybody else. They just don't know the right way of doing it yet.
Right.
And if you can approach somebody differently, and breathe some fresh air into their life, it may just change their life. And like, that's a super important thing to try.
Yeah.
I think. And people have done that to me, and I really appreciate it. So, yeah.
Yeah. I've had chances in my life to do things for people that you don't think is a big deal, and you look at it's the things you remember for the rest of your life. For
sure, that's what you remember, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I can. There's several stories that we talk about college basketball. There was something I did in college that everybody knows the movie Rudy, right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I mean, I do anyway. Yeah,
Rudy came to speak at our college.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and we went to it was one of the not lecture halls, assembly halls in the student union, and it was full, of course, standing room only.
Oh, I bet.
And the first thing you do is, I'm a basketball player, so I'm going to stand up and let people sit down in the back. So I'm an able-bodied guy, so I'm going to let people sit down.
Yeah.
And we go to this and we listen to the whole thing, and it's one of the most motivating stories when you hear about it. But then you hear like kind of what I said earlier. That was one point in his life, and he's tried to keep doing the same thing moving forward and be an inspiration and think and carry on. Well, we're all getting ready to leave because after a while it's in the Q&A, and it's we've got practice the next day or whatever, and we've been there a couple hours. Well, we're walking out, and everybody's raising their hands for questions. And there's somebody that I noticed that is raising their hand, and I look over, and he's in a wheelchair. and he's trying to get attention for his question. Well, like I said, I'm a 6'10" college basketball player, so I take a couple steps up in the aisle and raise my hand. And he notices me, and he says, "You, sir." I said, "Okay." And I go back and I listen to. I said, "Hey, this gentleman back here has a question." And he says, "Okay." And I walk back and I lean over and ask him what he wants to say. And his friend that was there helping him has to help relay because the guy has a hard time talking with whatever, and tells me the question. And I say the question out loud and pass it along to Rudy on the stage.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And he goes, "That's a great question," and goes off and the answer and everything. I say, "Okay." And kind of take a step back and let the guy listen to the answer and shake the guy's hand on the way by and everything else. Probably 10 feet out the door, and his friend ran out the door after me and said, "Hey, that was pretty amazing what you did, and I really appreciate that." I was, "Hey man, it's the least I can do, and I'm just glad to help, and no worries." And because you never want to make a big deal about anything like that.
Well, and you both remember that for the rest of your life, no doubt.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I was there for 5 years. I played for 4 and never had the greatest, stats or career or whatever. I was there. I played college basketball. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
I had that guy wrote into my coach, or I don't know if he wrote in or brought the letter in or whatever, but wrote into my coach about what a huge deal it was and what a difference I made that night. And my coach read that letter out loud in practice.
Yeah.
And I called everybody in the middle of the court and read that letter for all the, staff and trainers and everything else.
That's gotta feel really good.
God,
yeah.
I probably haven't thought about that story in 10 years.
Yeah.
And even telling it now, I'm sure I'm getting a little shaky.
Yeah. Well,
it was one of the coolest things, because you're sitting there going, I just did what was right, but I made a difference in somebody else's life like that. That was, that was a one-time thing for him. And I made it. I was able to help him make it happen.
Well, and imagine if you got to do that every day.
Oh yeah.
That would be that's purpose. That makes you felt like you had a purpose. And that's an important, that's a great feeling. That's a great story.
Yeah.
It's okay.
No, it hits you because you don't think about stuff like that, because it was something. I've done stuff like that constantly in my life where somebody can't, I raise my hand for somebody else, or I get somebody's attention for somebody, and it's just something you do. And that was the time that it made
you're a good guy
in somebody's life big enough that they thought to write a letter about it.
Yeah.
And so if I can do that 1 out of 1,000 times, making a difference in somebody else's life just by doing a common courtesy. So
yeah, man. Well, you're a good guy, and that motivates me to, maybe I'll get the chance to raise my hand for somebody today. I don't know. I will try. I got to get out of the house first.
Well, I got to get back to work too.
Yeah.
I just realized.
So we're at the end here.
All choked up before going back to the office.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm a big old softy anyway.
You're on Twitch, right? Do you want to say your Twitch name?
I am DadViking, and I don't really broadcast on that one. My wife and we broadcast on Zen Viking Gaming.
Okay.
ZEN Viking Gaming, all one word.
Twitch.tv/Zen Viking Gaming. All right, just make sure that I put it in the description and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
We're not on very often, but we're trying to do our best to get better about it, especially after this conversation. So you're gonna hear a lot more of me going, "Bruce, is my microphone on? How's it work?"
No, it's
how do I sound, man? I love when you pop in. You're hilarious.
Zen Viking, and then is it another G? So
yes, let me double check it real quick, but I'm 99% sure it's Zen Viking Gaming. All yes.
So there's 3 G's in it.
Yes.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, it's for me, DadViking, and my wife Kitty Zen.
All right.
And we stream. Sometimes it's just me screwing around at night, and sometimes it's both of us. So
awesome.
There we go.
Well, thank you so much.
Me ramble your ear off there.
No, it was great. I learned a lot, and it was an absolute blast for me. So thank you very, very much. I will let you go. Thank you. This was an awesome. This was my first one, so you kind of
You can only go up from here.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly. Well, no, I didn't. Not like that. But I'll always remember it as the very first one. So thank you very, very much.
Man. Awesome, dude.
Yeah, and don't work too hard today, okay?
All right, man.
All right.
See you, buddy.
Bye. All right. Cool. Well, I got the first one done. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you go check out DadViking, ZenViking Gaming, twitch.tv/ZenViking Gaming. The link will be in the description. If you want to be on the podcast, please let me know. Email me, follow me on Twitter, DM me, jump in the Discord. All that stuff will be down in the description. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great day. Take care of yourselves. Be good to one another. Treat each other right. And I'll see you for the next one. Okay? Have a good night. Bye-bye.